Alright, what's up everybody? Thought I would do an update video here on the Phoenix Xfinity setup, and this is a custom setup. The old one I did was like 2 years old, and I have learned a lot, changed a lot, so I thought I'd do an updated setup here. And some people I know are running an Xfinity League race, and I thought I'd try to put this together for them, see if it helps any of them. It's not that much faster. It's about a tenth quicker, but I do think it is a little quicker on the long runs and a little more stable, a little more easy to drive. I ran a 26.4 with this setup. With the old setup, it was a 26.5. Let's see if I can get a 26.4 here on video for you guys, and then I will talk about how I get around Phoenix, and then we will obviously head to the garage. But first, I got to get a decent lap. Here, it seems like a lot of times my first lap is not that great. I don't know if there's not enough heat in the tires. We'll see what we get. Oh, a 26.3. We will take that. Better than I had thought I was going to do. So we will take that. 26.339. I think my all-time best is a 26.2, but that was probably a low fuel setup. But let's see if I can talk about how I get around Phoenix here. I'm going to get back to the start-finish line and talk about it kind of from the standpoint of starting off to start-finish line. So what I do is I cut the dog leg pretty severely. So I'm coming to start-finish line, and I want to be coming off the banking right about the time I am crossing the start-finish line. And I kind of try to cut through some of that little dark painted thing there that I think is some kind of advertisement. Then I'm running a straight line. I am working my way back up onto the track. I want to be outside or up here by the outside wall by the time I get to this Gatorade sign. And somewhere between this first Gatorade sign and this second Gatorade sign is when I'm hitting the brakes. I'm not on the brakes real hard. I'm on probably a medium amount. And then I am probably going to let come off the brakes probably about here, let the car roll a little bit. Actually, I'm probably on the brakes, probably clear up to that black NASCAR sign that we just passed on the wall. I'll back up here so you can see it. I don't know exactly where I'm at on where I'm coming off the brakes. It kind of is just a feel thing. But probably about where that NASCAR sign is that I'm passing. I'm going to let this thing roll, and I want to get the car rotated, and I want to be turning somewhere between this O'Reilly sign and the Gatorade sign that's next is usually where I'm trying to get back on the gas. And I am more or less following the yellow line and the suggested line. I might drift up a little bit when I'm at the apex of the corner. I might enter it just right on the yellow line or a hair below, but you guys can watch the video and see the lap I ran. But this is the point that I am back on the brake or back on the gas, and I am I'm just hard on the gas, and I am going to basically follow the suggested line all the way out of the turn, and then I am hard on the gas, obviously all the way down the back straightaway. My mark for going into turn 3 is these cones. You see the 3, 2, 1. The 3 cone is where I am braking. I am turning as I am braking, and I'm trying to get down as close to the inside wall as I can. Now, the lap I ran, I know I didn't get real close, but I will try to get down here. This car starts off really tight, and you kind of need that at Phoenix because it's going to get loose really quick, so you want it to start off very tight. But I want to get down as close to this O'Reilly sign as I can. Not as much braking here, I don't think, as in 3 or in 1 and 2. Then I am almost coming off the brakes and not really coasted very much, and then getting right back on the gas. And what I am looking at is that Geico restart zone up there, probably about this distance from it. I'm saying 3 to 5 car lengths. That distance from that Geico restart zone is where I want to get back on the gas. And when I am getting back on the gas, now I'm going to use up the whole track, let the car drift up to the outside, and I am looking at this NASCAR Cup Series sign right here. This is the point where I am closest to the wall, and from here, this is when I start arcing it back down so that I can cut the dog leg and cut some time off. But that is the deal with how I get around this thing. Phoenix is really hard on rear tires, specifically the right rear. So I want to make sure I tell everybody that what's going to happen is that right rear tire is going to wear much quicker than the right front. It's going to do it throughout the run. the car just doesn't really get loose. I've ran many full fuel runs this. The car doesn't get loose, but that right rear tire does wear, and I cannot quite get a full fuel run out of it. I get down to 1 lap to go, and I've got to pit because I'm out of rubber on the right rear. So I can't quite make a complete fuel run, but I can get within 1 lap, which is pretty good at Phoenix. So, well, there, I just got wiped out. But with that being said, let's head to the garage. And we will talk about the setup. Sorry, I'm being a little bit long-winded here. Nothing real radical here. The bump and rebound settings are pretty standard. I am pretty high up on a wedge. It's rare that I am running a wedge of 54, but again, to get this thing to last and to not get real crazy loose about halfway through the fuel run, you need it to start off tight. But I am running pretty high up on the wedge. That's a little bit odd for me. The springs are nothing radical. I usually max out the springs. Tire pressures are pretty close to the default. I think I may have went up a couple of pounds here or there, but pretty close, nothing crazy there. I got real aggressive on the camber, and I did get real aggressive on the camber for a couple of reasons. One being the front tires don't really wear at Phoenix. It's the rear tires that wear, so I can be aggressive on the camber because the front tires aren't the ones that are wearing. And two, that helps it turn. Now, I was also went way up on the sway bar. I'm usually not running a sway bar that stiff, but again, this is Phoenix. The car gets so loose early in the run that I had to go to the very stiff sway bar to keep it from getting loose. And then the track bars, for probably at least a year or so, I've been running to where I max out the track bars for the most part. I'm running a pretty low brake bias, and by running a more evened out brake bias, I don't have to use as much brake going into the corners. The wheel lock, again, that's another change I made. I started running a really low wheel lock, so the tires don't turn as much to the left or the right with that lower wheel lock. Really seems like that helps with cars getting loose on long runs if you lower that wheel lock down. If you're on a controller, I have been told that you need to run a little bit higher wheel lock. Probably 2 to 4 clicks higher will make it a lot easier to drive on a controller. But if you're on a controller, experiment with it. That's about the only change I'd make with a controller. I was pretty aggressive on the gearing. A 125 with a 3.25, that comes out to a 4.063. And early in runs, you are going to hit the chip, the rev limiter going down the front straightaway. But the trade-off is you get better drive off the corners. You slow down so much at Phoenix in the corners and lose so many RPMs on the engine that having this gear ratio of a 4.06 really gives you better drive off the corner. But it's a trade-off. If you can roll the corners better than I can, you might want to try a 1.15 in third gear with a 3.50. That comes out to a 4.025. That's a little taller gear. You won't hit the rev limiter at the end of straightaway, but you won't have the drive off the corners. But again, if you can roll the corners better than I can, that won't be an issue. So that's what I got for Phoenix 26.3. Hope you guys like it. Hope you run lots of fast laps with it. Try it out. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. And as always, hope you run lots of fast laps, win lots of races, and have a great evening, everybody. Thank you for watching.